Good evening.
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening, teacher.
Okay, let me check now.
Good evening, teacher.
Okay,
Good evening, everybody.
good
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 evening.
evening,
evening.
I'm
Flor.
going to stop my video just because I have Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi is very slow here. Okay. Okay, guys. So today we have the presentations about the examples that you have. So I would like to know if there is any volunteer for
Yes,
starting.
teacher.
Who?
For the list,
Who
Joanna and
teacher?
John.
Yes,
Liz, Joanna.
And John.
and Genevieve.
Okay. Okay, so I have the presentation here, but I would like you to share the presentation from your desk if it is possible. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, after Liz, we are going to listen after Liz and her group, we are going to listen Carlos and Blanca. Okay, Liz, could you enter? Who is going to display the presentation?
I would like, teacher.
Who is I?
Winton.
Genevieve, you have it.
No, but we are going to start with your neighbor,
Okay.
Flor, and then we are going to continue with Carlos, and you are going to be the third. Okay, we'll talk.
Okay, teacher.
Let me take notes. Okay. Your neighbor, could you please share the presentation, or do you want me to do this?
Teacher, but I can see the presentation. You share it?
Can you share it?
Oh, I can adjust. Wait me a second. Yeah, you can see?
In a second. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are seeing. Yeah, good.
Give me a second, please. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. This is teacher. Can we begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. Licenciatura en Lengua Inglesa, Theoretical Linguistics 2, teacher Jairo Enrico Castañeda, students John Paola Castello León, for the list Hernandez Science, John Eber Garcia, reference science and true. Okay, about activity, this is the first three examples about the reference. And the first category is defined. And the example is the dog barks slowly. And in this case, our example is, okay, the name of the dog is Tony, and for this reason it's a specific dog. For this reason it's undefined. In a second example, a dog barks slowly. Okay, it's indefined because it's talking about whatever dog. There is a specific dog. Okay? And the last one is a generic. And when you talk about the reference generic, you talk about dogs bark loudly. The reference is about the old dogs, it's bark slowly. Second.
Okay, about this, about sense, our example is, for example, the uterus or the expression is butterfly. What happened with the sense? For me, in this case, for example, the sense is a butterfly, like this, like the object, like that. What is a butterfly? It's an animal. If it is an animal, what kind of animal? Is an insect. What kind of insect? Is a lepidoptera. And we can find many kinds of butterflies, like a monarch or like a painted lady. Now, a butterfly, any butterfly, for example, a painted lady has some specific parts. It has head, thorax, abdomen, and three pairs, special pairs of legs. In its head, it has eyes and antennas, and in the thorax, it has wings. In this example, we can get a hyperonym as object that is an animal. This is a hyperonym. Hyperonym and hyponym is the insect, because insect is an animal. And in this order, Lepidoptera is two, a hyperonym and hyponym, because Lepidoptera is a kind of insect, and insect is a kind of animal. And in this case, the examples of the types of butterflies like monarch and painted lady is only a hyponym. And when we speak about the parts of any butterfly, like in this case, painted lady, we are speaking about meronymy, and this is our example about sense. The next one, please.
Okay, the third example is about the truth. We was working using the logical propositional connectors. In that case, we use the implication, and we use two propositions. The first, you study, and the other one is you will learn. In that case, the use of the implication is if you study, then you will learn. And we try to show the truth of this proposition, yes, with the use of the table of truth. In that case, we know that the first proposition is true, the second is true, and in that case, using the table, all the proposition is true. And the second, we try to mix the implication and the negation. Negation is another form to use the true. So in that case, we say, if you don't study, then you will not learn. And in that case, we know that a negation can be have two meanings. In that case, the true or the false. In that case, that is true. And in the last example, we use the equivalence. In the equivalence, we use the propositions like you can vote if and only if you are 18 years old. And in that case, the both are true, so the complete is true. That is all, teacher.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Sharon. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Very nice for this presentation. I really like the three examples that you presented. And think that it was clear. I mean, it shows me that you understand the three different topics. Okay? Very
Thank you,
good.
teacher.
Very good.
Thank you.
I like
Thank you very much.
the second slide, the third slide, where you show the butterfly. Very good. It was a very good explanation. Okay, so let's
Thank
continue.
you.
Okay, you're welcome. Let's continue with Blanca and Carlos. So Blanca, could you please share, or Carlos, could you please share the screen,
Yes, of
the
course, teacher.
presentation?
Oh
Blanca.
yes, let me try to share the screen
Yeah.
to find out my.
Yes, very good.
Hold on, please.
Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So, this is the semantics presentation made by Carlos Eduardo Mantilla and myself. To understand our examples, let us remind briefly some concepts prior to them. Reference considered as the relationship that links language and real world. Referent is the object it represents. There are two types of reference, variable and constant. The second one are expressions that have the same referent through a range of utterances. So in our example of United Kingdom, listeners that know the meaning of the referents which appear in the sentences immediately know that we are talking about United Kingdom. In terms of variable reference, considered as expressions that have the referent depending on the context. In our example of my daughter studying in that school, the listener must be familiar with the school that we are talking about for him to understand the meaning.
Well, actually now we have another example, a little bit more related with our actual politician activity. And here we can see some faces, and these faces represent the candidates nowadays people is electing in Colombia. All faces in the picture are clear examples of a reference, since all of them refer to a candidate, and all of them have provided speech sometimes. Next, please.
We talk about sense when the meaning is given by comparing with the experience. In our example, the word love is an abstract concept, but people that know the intensity of the relationship between Mary and John would understand the meaning of the three utterances. It happens the same with our second example regarding power word.
Now,
So sorry,
taking
could you
into
please,
account,
sorry, could you please go back and read the example of power?
sure,
Sorry.
sure, it's okay.
This one?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
The word power in a sentence. President Santos has the power to make decisions in the country. President Santos uses his influences to make decisions in the country. President Santos has the competency to make decisions in the country. So the people in Colombia country know exactly how the president has the power to do this type of decisions, and they understand the meaning.
Okay.
Now, taking into account this explanation and continue with this kind of examples, we can find that sense can have many references. Here we have the picture of Iván Duque and Sergio Fajardo, who are references of a particular sense, which is a candidate. Therefore, we consider or we find out that the sense can have many references. Next, please, Blanca. In this one, in this particular slide, we have the contrarios. A reference can have many senses. And one of the main references we use in this particular slide is Shakira. Shakira is the reference, but as well, she can have here two senses. One is that she's Pique's wife, and for the other hand, she's Pilan's and Shasha's mother. Next, please.
Continuing with sense relation, synonym refers to words that sound different but have the identical meaning as another word or phrase. Example, the word ruin equal to bankruptcy, insolvency, collapse. These words were also used in sentences as you can see in the present slide, and the utterances have the same meaning. The polysemy, now is the turn of it, words that have more than one meaning. Example, the word cat, it is an animal, but also it could be a tool for lifting heavy objects. Or the word capital. principal in terms of large amounts for bankers, or an important city where the central government is located.
Another group of sense relation examples is the hyponym and the hyperonym. Here we just wrote down two examples. We have one with flower and another one with week. What happened with flower is that this is the key term and is the hyponym of rose, margarita, carnation, because flower here contains them all. That's why we consider that that's the main term. And carnation here is the hyponym of flower, is such as an example of it. For the other part, we have week. This is the hyperonym of Sunday because it encompasses all of the days of the week from Sunday to Saturday. And one of the hyponym example of the week is Tuesday. That is regarding of this one. Next, please, Blanca.
Okay, antonym. Words that have the sense relation which involves the opposite of meaning. They could be binary, which come in pairs. The affirmation of one eliminates the possibility that the other exists, like in legal or illegal, for instance, using one of our examples. Converse. Two terms are conversed if each one implies the other. For instance, someone has to sell for another to buy, or someone has to lose for another to win.
Another group is the gradable antonyms. And in this case, particular case, something that we would like to highlight is that they are opposite ends of a scale. And we're talking about a scale because they represent one initial point throughout an end point. Example, sympathy and empathy, antipathy, sorry, white and black, hot and cold. Something that is common in all of them is that they have a neutral and a middle point. In the first one, sympathy and antipathy, the middle point, it's indifference. White and black is the gray, and hot and cold is the warm. Just to do a little quick mention, we found out other examples of sense relations, and it's onomatopoeia and homonymy. The onomatopoeia is regarding to the sound of words that when we listen them, we are able to write down boom, bang, click, etc. And for the other hand, homonymy is regarding to the writing of the words. They sound exactly the same, but they write down in a different way. Next.
In terms of prototype, let us say that it's a cognitive reference point. It's something real. Example, lion is an animal. Therefore, it is a prototype because it is a real, while its characteristics are the stereotype, since it involves abstract descriptions. It happens the same with our second example, orchid.
And finally, in terms of truth, we divide up this condition in true conditional and true value of proposition. In the first one, the example that we propose is Nixon is alive. Here, the word Nixon refers to Richard M. Nixon as a person indeed. And is alive, we associate it with the set of currently living things. The second one is truth value of proposition. A tiger is mammal. Obviously, we know that, but why is true? Because the animal tiger belongs to the class of mammals. This sentence is a particular and real example of what we call a proposition. Grass is green. It's true. It's observable. We can see that. But it's true only if and only if grass is green. So in this case, we know that it's green because of the substance that we call grass has the property of being green in the real world. Summarizing, the idea is that all the facts that are true describe a unique possible world. Why? That's the world that we name actual one. Thank you very much, teacher and classmates. That's the end of it.
Okay, thank you very much. I see that you did a very complete work. I mean, you give examples of many things, and you add more information. I mean, you are adding more examples about different things from the other group or for the first group. This is very valuable for us. You were trying to bring to the class things and concepts that we have already studied, and it is very good because I can see that you you are understanding this very, very well. Okay. Thank you very much for that presentation, Blanca and Carlos. We are going. You're welcome, Carlos. We are going to continue with Wilton.
Thank you.
Okay, Blanca, you can stop sharing.
Okay.
Wait,
Let's see
wait a
here.
second, because
Okay, teacher.
Blanca is
Okay,
trying
okay.
to
Sorry.
Blanca is trying eh, to get out of the sharing. Blanca, I think that is on the bottom, at the bottom,
I can't find that.
at the bottom, abajo.
Let's see. Ya, pero no lo encuentro. Ok, déjame ver. ¿Ya?
No.
Let me ask for assistance, please.
Okay.
Oh, mira. No puedo. ¿Qué hago? Compartiendo la pantalla, entonces.
Yeah, no, okay.
Now,
¿Qué
it's
tal?
okay.
La sacas de la reunión.
Te sales de la reunión.
Where is a share screen?
Share screen, abajo. En la parte de abajo.
Es que no me deja.
Utiliza el mouse y mira.
No lo encuentro.
Más abajo, la flecha.
Ok. No. Okay, no problem. I will go out and then I'll go in.
Okay. Okay. Going to do something. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
I think. Okay. Wilton, could you please?
Yes. Good evening, teacher and classmates. Let's see if
teacher is I can share the screen because you are sharing in this moment.
Who is sharing? Me?
Your teacher, yes.
Yes.
Lina.
Okay, ready.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, Wilton, go ahead.
Okay. Wait a minute. Because.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start. Okay. Fine. This task is presented by Wilton Martinez, Noemi Joana Panadero, and Lina Maria Abounds. So let's start. Let's talk about reference. And we are going to talk about some cases of reference. Let's remember that if an expression refers something like a place or object or person, then it has reference. Let's see the first example here. The Pacific Ocean is magnificent. Here, this sentence or this expression has reference, which is Pacific Ocean. Here, we're not talking about another ocean, we're talking about the Pacific Ocean. The next expression here, it says, well, I traveled last week. This expression makes sense and it's grammatically correct, but has no reference because you can know where I was. For example, if I was in Cartagena or in Cali, you can know that. So we can say that this expression has no reference. So fine. The other is the constant reference. Um, Constant reference almost refers to the same thing. Let's take, for example, moon. It would be hard to imagine a situation where one says the moon that actually means the table or means a chair or sun and so on. So the moon always or constantly refers to the actual moon we see in the sky. Another case of reference is when we have no physical reference, as we can see here in this part. For example, function words like a, the, in, is. These words have no physical reference. We also have abstract notions like love or hate or idea, and also myth creatures or people. For example, if we take the expression unicorn, the unicorn doesn't exist in the real world, but we can still talk about something called the unicorn. In this case, unicorn has no physical reference in the real world, meaning that it isn't taken from a physical object. Other case or reference is when one expression has multiple reference in the real world. For example, imagine you walk into the classroom and there are 7 or 8 female students and you use the expression the girl. What does the expression girl pick out here? It might pick out Mary, or it might pick out Tara, or maybe Tiffany. The same expression has several references. If we use the expression, for example, orange, could refers to the fruit or could refers to the color. Fine. Other case is where you have multiple expressions, all pointing at the same thing, one object or reference. Let's look at these expressions. For example, let's read them. Donald Trump, the president of USA, or start of the apprentice show. All these expressions are different, but they're referring to the same person, which is Donald Trump. These were the case of reference. Thank you. Next.
Hey, good evening, classmates. Do you hear me?
Yes, nice.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to be with the second dimension of the semantics. It's called sense. Um, Sense is related to the relationship between the linguistic elements themselves. In the fields we have as examples, I have the jam session. What happened with this example is funny to see the jam session, no? Just like it's referring me to like mix. I am musician too, and we use for example, says that I share something. So, for example, we have this example for sentences, for sense. Sorry. Between many relations of sense, we have 3 or 4 as the more important. We have synonym, antonym, hyponym, and meronym. In synonym, we have 5 dimensions. As we see here one example. In the part in the I don't know how to say in the down part. Okay. Yes. We have, for example, the 5 dimensions of synonym. The first one is dialectal synonym. I have 2 examples. One is autumn and fall. Is when we call one thing in different words due to different dialects of the language. One is from British English, another is from American English. We have also a stylistic synonym that refers to the way can be formal or informal way of the expression. We can say, for example, the difference of mother or mom. We have also emotive synonyms. For example, we have a statesman or politician, where both of them state arguments. We have collocational synonyms. It is regarded to the relation of the collocation of words. We can have rancid butter and idle eggs, but not vice versa. We have also overlap synonyms. And for example, we have the example of ripe and mature. Both of them are regarded to mature meaning, but ripe refers to the state of the fruit, or also it seems that something is ready to do, and mature is only referred to the age. We have 3 degrees of synonymy: absolute, partial, or near, depending on how close the meaning is comparing with the other synonyms. And antonym is the opposition. We have two types also. Gradable, and gradable we have we have here some examples: warm, cold, big and small, fast and slow. But also in gradable we have different degrees in between. For example, between warm and cold we have also tepid. So are the degrees that can have one color, one sensation, or also degrees. We have also binary, where the opposition is absolute. We have, for example, dead or alive. You cannot be a little dead. You are alive or you are dead. We have also conversal antonym. That is a opposition also, for example, above or below, where each one depends of the existence of the opposite. For example, above exists just to refer the opposite of below. Another concept referent of antonym is the markedness. I have different examples. For example, happy and unhappy, where happy is unmarked and unhappy is marked. We have the next one that is hyponym, that is related to the hierarchy relation of the terms based on inclusion. We have here the example of hyponym, where we have the different colors, where from down they have the relation of inclusion, but from left to right we have the relation of incompatibility. Why? Because purple is have incompatibility with red, but both of them belong to the word, to the name of color, that in this case is the hyperonym. And for the last one we have metonym, that is the relation of inclusion. For example, face contains eyes, nose, or mouth. And in my example, for example, the tree contains branches and leaves. Next one.
Okay, about truth, the reference contributes to the truth or falsehood of the sentences. The prepositional logic deals with relations between simple sentences without regard of their internal structure. This relation is expressed in connectives and in the true tables. In the first example, in negation, it inverts true value of simple sentences. The two examples are John stole, and the negation is John did not steal. In the conjunction, the natural language application is and. In the example, apples are red and green, and apples are green and apples are green. In the implication, the natural language application could be if and then. In the example given, if you fall, you will get hurt. And in the second example, if it rains, then the streets will get wet. In this juncture, natural language applications, inclusive or, in the example given, the platypus is a mammal or a fish. And in the second example, the platypus is a bird or a mammal. And finally, in the equivalence, the natural language application could be only if and only when. The difference between equivalence and implication is the necessary conditions. In the example given, first, John can have lunch if he goes to the restaurant. There is not a necessary condition, but in the second example, Mary will be 13 if and only if she lived that long. There is a necessary condition. And finally, we are talking about inference. If a conclusion follows from premises, and if premises are true, then the conclusion is true. In the first example, all plants on Mars are blue. Therefore, many plants on Mars are blue. And in the second example, there are no plants on Mars. Therefore, there are no roses on Mars. Because if there are no sea or no plants, the roses are plants. Therefore, there are no roses. So it is important taking in mind that only some words of natural language are responsible for valid inferences. These words are all, many, some, and not. That's all, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. I was wondering, I was seeing the first example here, and all plants on Mars are blue. And according to the first presentation, in which we can, okay, let me see, in which we can establish, I'm going to mute, okay, because I am listening to myself, in which we can establish here, like the truth, if we say that the first all plants in Mars, so we can say that in this sentence, all plants in Mars are blue. We can say that in this sentence, we have two propositions. The first one could be, there are plants in Mars. And the other one, plants in Mars are blue. But the first one is false, so the second one has to be false. Yes? I was just wondering that to myself. Also, the inference example was good. Okay? And yes, Arley, but first we are going to have Sharon. Okay? Okay, thank you, Lina, Wilton, and Noemi for your presentation. It was very good. What I liked is that you are presenting different examples. Really, it is really entertaining. Okay, so let's see, who's next? Sharon. Sharon, could you please share the screen?
Okay, give me a second. I have to, which is the, give me a second, please. I'm trying to share my screen at this moment. Oh my goodness. Where is the link? Or
What link?
for share the screen?
At the bottom of the screen. There you can see something that says share screen.
I couldn't find the share from gallery. Okay.
Okay.
Here I have. I think it's okay. Okay, here is our presentation. Claudia Gutierrez and I did it in order to share some examples, just only examples because we are know the theory about this. And in this presentation, Claudia recorded her voice because she got a difference in her schedule because she lives in Europe. So she can be here, but she uploaded her voice. So we make these examples about reference, and we take it in the way that we are going to figure out what are we talking about. So at the end of each sentence, we write the object that we are going to refer. So the first one is, it is used to write and draw. Also, we can cut it. Sometimes have a several bright colors, have different size and shape, and it is made for several materials. So in this moment, we are referring to paper. And the next one is that it is used to open not only doors, chains, and hearts. And in this example, we're trying to figure not only the material stuff, it's also about feelings when we are going to refer and hearts. The other example is muff that woman use it. It's a fashion accessory that woman can use in their ears and have many sizes and colors and shapes. And we are talking about earrings. So in this point, we can imagine all the like types or kinds of earrings that women can use. The other one is a recipient in which you put salad, soup, or any food. Sometimes you can use it for the microwave, so we are going to refer to a dish. And in this example, we're making reference not only a simple dish, it's also the other use that we can give to this object by taking into the micro. The other one is if on it you can introduce coins and bills. Some people use it for save money, have many shapes, size, and colors, and it's always represented by a pig. So in this case, we are referring to a piggy, and this involves not only the piggy figure, is also about the thing that you can do with it and the useful that this object can be. The other one is that you can use it to look at yourself reflected on it. So it's clear that it's a mirror. And the other life is that people say that have seven lives, chase birds, had a long tail, purrs all the time, and meow. And we are referring to a cat in all her ways. Now, Claudia is going to introduce this part.
Some sense examples. And as you measure at the love before, and the synonyms are adopt, appreciate, desire, and take pleasure, and adaptation. When I hear this word, I don't have a real object, and I have to imagine and compare to my experience what love is. And then I can say that love is a passionate desire or a feeling for someone that I have, or is also to like something, or yeah, or that I'm in love with my husband. From my experience, also I have another example. It is the word dog, and when we hear this word, we make a concept or mental representation in our mind. When someone say you watch out for the dog, before that you make quickly a concept in your mind. You make quickly mental image about what thought is. And also it's important to remember that an expression must be stable because in relationship it determines the or limit the possibilities what thought in the real world.
Okay, in this example, Claudia is trying to explain the way that we are not only are going to make a relationship between the word and some kind of physical representation is about more the feeling that we can talk about this. And here is the other example of prose or a sentence.
And the second is a phrase or sense. And the first one say on Monday after the fifth day from the school. One say on Monday after the break loss from the school. And the last one say on Monday after the thief went away from the school. All sentences have different words but the same meaning. They are synonym and forms to write.
Okay, and now we take the part of truth about making reference of situation and that we already know because we can have some kind of evidence about these facts or this kind of situation. So it's a declarative sentence that let you know under what circumstances a sentence is true. So we make a kind of reference based on that picture about the native here in Colombia. We know that they live in the forest and they most of the time hide from the bigger society, and also we can figure all that situation that these people live because we can see them in the streets. So we take this example in the way that we are going to something about a sentence or situation that we don't know if they are true. So in this case, we take this example in order to explain that are facts and not only linked to sentences or proposition that can be true or not. And uh, we have this true fact because it's something that you can approve or see or verify by your experience or based on the social relation between that interpretation or the proposition that we are going to expose. So this is our presentation. Is very short because we try to figure as concrete as we can do it.
Okay, Sharon, thank you for your presentation. I just have a question about truth.
Yeah.
From what sense or from what aspect do you consider the truth? Uh, I would like you to explain a little bit what did you understand as a truth from the theory that you read?
Okay, we try to figure the part of truth in the way that are a sentence that we can express like a proposition about something that you can comprove by your experience. For that
You
reason, we
can.
take the example
Okay.
of the natives because you know them, you know where they live, they know you know what they do all the time, and it's not only by saying I know the natives of Colombia because I saw a lot of pictures. You can also say that you know the natives in Colombia live in the forest because most of scientists go to their village to study the way they live. So in this proposition, we can comprove by the experience or the evidence that we can recover for different resources.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Thank
Okay.
you very much for the explanation. Now let's continue with Arley, I think. Yes, Arley. Thank you for that. Arley.
Okay, please let me know what I have to do because I don't know how to upload it.
Mm. So it is a very good exercise for you
Yeah, I
to
don't know.
know. Okay,
Uh,
it is on the bottom. At the bottom,
yeah,
you say
yeah,
something. You see something like share screen that it is in green.
yeah. All right. And I choose the presentation, right? And then I say,
Whatever you want. Yes.
all right. I think I got it. I don't know if you are able to see.
Mhm. Good.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Good. So basically, our presentation has to do. Give me one moment, please. Good. Our presentation has to do the same topic, examples of reference, sense, and truth. Our group is composed by Giancarlo Sanchez, Anillo, and me. Um, First of all, with the examples of sense, right? But first of all, we would have to know like the differences between reference and sense. In that way, we can say like reference of a word is the relation between the linguistic expression and the entity in the real world to which it refers. And in contrast to reference, we can say that sense is defined as its relation to the other expressions in the language system, um, but it doesn't take into account like I mean, it takes into account the real world, but it doesn't take into account the referent in the real world at the moment of the speech, right? So one example of this one is the first example we say like the book is on the table. Maybe
Okay.
the person that
Sorry. Can
ah,
you show
yeah,
us the example? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It, is on the screen. Can you see it?
Okay, Arley,
Examples of sense.
please close,
Yes.
close. Creo que ya está ampliando la diapositiva. Entonces, ciérrela
Um,
completamente. Cierre, deje de compartir la pantalla.
yes.
Deje de compartir. Stop. Stop sharing the screen.
Aren't you able to see the slides? No.
No. Stop sharing the screen.
Ah,
Earlier,
sorry.
we're just showing the first slide. That's what you're trying
Yes.
to say.
The thing is
So
that
Okay.
as you are sharing only the file, that's the only thing that we are sharing. El que hay que escoger no es la presentación,
Ah,
sino es el primerito, que es como la pantalla general, el escritorio general, para que podamos ver toda la presentación.
okay.
So stop sharing the screen and then go and share
Yeah.
again.
I'm trying to do that. Give me one moment. Then it will
Don't
be
worry, don't
catches
worry.
me.
Don't worry, we have 1 hour more.
Uh, I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Yes, very good.
There you go. We can see it
Okay.
now.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Yeah, samples of sense.
if I
Yeah,
can you see that one?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
That's what it is.
Better. Thank you. Sorry, I apologize. Well,
Don't worry.
as I was saying before, give me one- as I was saying before, like the examples of sense, the examples of sense. So the sense has to do with the meaning that the speaker has on his mind about the object that he's talking about, but it doesn't matter if the person is seeing or pointing the object at that moment, because the person that is going to listen that utterance has a sense of that object in his mind, and it is not necessary that the person sees the object in the real life to understand the example or the utterance that the other person is saying. Example, if we say, I don't know, Pablo and Pedro. So if we say Pablo says like the book is on the table. In order for Pedro to understand that expression, it's not necessary that um, Pablo points the object, because Pedro has already already a referent on his mind about the object, and he knows what a table is or what a book is, and also the characteristics, the features that the object has. Also, when we say like the cat is on the window, it is not necessary that you point the cat or you point the window, because the person that is listening, he already knows or he already has an image, a mental image about what a cat or what a window is. And the same thing happens, I'm sorry, the same thing happens with the cards on the table, because we already have the mental image about what cards is or what a table is. And in that case, with that last example, we can say like that expression, the cards are on the table. With a literal image, we are going to imagine some cards on the table. But if we go now with reference, we could say like the reference has to do with the words that are used by the speaker, but it has also to do with the intention of the speaker and the context that the speaker is using to express his idea. Example, if we listen to the same expression, the cards are on the table, and the person is talking about that he already did what he had to do in any situation, like he already did everything that he could in order to pass the semester. So he could say like the cards are on the table, but maybe the intention of the speaker is not to show or point some cards on a table, but the intention of the speaker is like to show that everything that he had to do, it is done. So in this case, we could talk about reference with the speaker's intention. So also when we're talking about reference, we could say we could use a referent um, when we're talking about the first example, like we say like there are rats with ties. If we talk about sense, maybe with this example, the rats with ties, immediately we would imagine like a rat, an animal with a tie, right? But talking about reference, maybe the intention of the speaker is not to talk about animals as rats, but he wants to use the referent or the word rat to point or to talk about other type of people that he doesn't like, and he's using his point of view in that reference. Also, we can talk about that there are many reference that has many words, or there are many words that they indicate the same referent. So, example, we have like the president of Colombia or the 2016 Nobel Peace Prize winner, or we have also Juan Manuel Santos. In this case, both of them, they could point or they could have the same referent. It doesn't matter that they have different words. Or also we can say in the third example that we have like the congressman that is a referent that is used and it could be used for many people because we don't have like more information about this expression. We say like just the congressman could be Paulo, could be Juan, could be Maria, could be no, Maria no, because but we can talk about many people with the same reference. So that would be like the examples about reference, and now we can see some examples about truth.
Oh, yes. Can you move to the next slide so I can see our
Yeah,
examples?
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So, in the examples of truth, what we wanted to do basically is to focus on truth, the concept of truth value from the view of truth conditions and semantics. And what we found is that they fall into two basic categories. The first one is the truth embodied in individual sentences. And on this view, we have analytic sentences, synthetic sentences, and contradictory sentences. And in the case of analytic sentence, it's that is defined as the only one that is necessarily true simply by the virtue of the words in it. Like we have in the first example, the sentence "frozen water is ice." We can say that it's true not because the world is the way it is, but because the English language is the way it is. I mean, we know like the part of the knowledge of ordinary English tells us that the meaning of ice is, I mean, ice means frozen water. So therefore, that is must be necessarily be true. We don't have we don't need any other like information or to go outside in the real world or verification to know that when we say frozen water is ice in order to know that that is actually true because both words basically mean the same thing. When we notice synthetic sentences, those are the ones that may be true or false depending upon how the world is. I mean, in contrast to analytic sentences, synthetic sentences are not true because of the words that comprise them, but rather because they do not accurately describe some state of affairs in the world. For example, in order for us to know if the black dog is sitting, we should go and verify where the dog is, what color the dog is, and if the dog is actually sitting in order for us to say it's true. It could be false if we enter a room, for example, and we find the black dog that is just walking around. In that case, the black dog wouldn't be sitting. We will need some like real experience or empirical uh, contact with the actual referent in order for us to say whether there is truth or falsity in the sentence so that it could be verified. And the third category that we found in this individual sentences is contradictory sentences. Contradictory sentences are just the opposite of analytical sentences. Well, analytic sentences are like necessarily true because of the words in them. The contradictory sentences are necessarily false for the same reason. For example, we see here, and we had a little picture for the red car, and somebody might say, you know, the red car is yellow. We would know immediately that this is false because of the meanings of the words in the sentence. We know the part of the meaning of yellow is not red, and we are saying that the car is red. So in this case of truth, we don't need to verify. We don't need to go to the real world. We don't need to go outside of a place and see what color the car is, because if someone says the red car is yellow, that wouldn't make sense just because of the meanings that are in the actual sentence, in the actual proposition. That's why sometimes contradictory sentences are also called linguistic falsities. Okay, we can move on to the next slide to verify the other type of truth relations. In truth relations, what we see is different from truth in in the categories of the sentence itself. Here, we don't need the individual sentences, but we're like analyzing the concept of truth, and this is basically what we've seen from the previous examples and previous presentations, that we need to establish a relationship between two propositions in order for us to say whether it's true or false. And within the truth relations, we found to be two like main categories. The first one is entailment, and the second one is presupposition. In the case of an entailment, what we see is that it's a proposition that is expressed in a sentence that it, that follows necessarily from another sentence. For example, we see here that we have John and Mary went to the school. John and Mary went to the school entails it's a word in English to mean links or connects. It actually entails the second proposition, John went to the school. We know that the second proposition is true because the first one is true. Because John couldn't have gone if he and Mary didn't go to the school. I mean, the second sentence would never be true if the first sentence is not true. And the same happens with the second sentence with Andrew. We can say Andrew's son is 10 years old, and we have a second sentence that entails the first sentence. Andrew has a son. We would never say that Andrew has a son. If we say Andrew doesn't have a son, then it would make the first sentence necessarily, I mean, the second sentence will necessarily be false if we state, because in this truth relations analysis, especially some of the methodologies that they use, they state that the first sentence are the one that it's assigned with the necessary truth. So basically what we see here is that the truth of a sentence, A, or in this case, the truth of sentence number one, would ensure the truth of sentence number two, which is called in the book sentence B. Like I said, because if we say John and Mary went to the school, then John necessarily went to the school. And the falsity of the second sentence will also ensure the falsity of the first sentence, because if John didn't go to the school, like in the first sentence, then necessarily John and Mary didn't go to the school, because in this case, just a possible truth would be that Mary went to the school by herself. And the second and last category, this one is very complex, and we found that it's not related to semantics, but it's more related to pragmatics. But anyway, we wanted to put it here. And presupposition, a presupposition is basically a proposition that is expressed in a sentence that must be assumed to be true in order to judge the truth or falsity of another sentence. For example, if we have this entailment relationship that Mark works as a doctor, that would entail that Mark is a doctor, since he couldn't be working as a doctor if he's not a doctor. Then we presuppose that Mark is studying medicine. It's not even there. It's not presented in the relationship between the first and the second sentence, but we assume or presuppose that Mark should have studied medicine in order for him to work as a doctor and also say that he's a doctor. So that's basically the concept of presupposition. That is like the second main concept when we want to talk about truth relations and truth value. So we wanted to focus basically like in general terms, because we could understand that the concept is very is very extent and like covering the general or basic materials would be good to present.
Sorry to chat, and then Carlo, also that we already know like the basic examples or the basic things about like reference, sense, and truth. We can talk about also some relationships that exist between the language. I mean, inside of the language, not only senses like the mental image of a word, but also that between those words there are some relationships. Example, like between sense, we can find like the synonyms, that they are words that they are that they have the same meaning at the moment of the speech, right? They have maybe the same um, referent, or they have the same meaning for the speaker. Also, like the polysemy, that it is like the state or phenomenon in which words they have more than one meaning, right? Also, like the hyponymy, that the teacher already explained it before in the class, that is like one that has like some categories below the same term. Also the antonym, that is like the opposite or like the contrast of a word inside of the meaning. So that's why maybe we can talk about the sense not only like a mental image, but it has some relationships between words that we have to take into account at the moment of the speech. So that would be like our main ideas. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Something that caught my attention was something that Giancarlo says, and he says that the truth, this part of the truth presupposition, it belongs to pragmatics. So I want to be clear. I mean, there are many things that are like in both aspects, in semantics and pragmatics. But as you have noticed, everything depends on on the kind of, I don't know, the situation that you are, right? If there is a context, it is going to be related to pragmatics. So you can use reference, sense, and truth in pragmatics as well. Yeah, and determine those things. Yes, you can use the semantics to pragmatics and start making a relationship. They are going to be in a relation. Okay, so I think that your presentation was very good. Was very good because you present different examples and different things. And I think that what you have done, not only you two, but all of you guys, the whole class, is very, very good. This is the first time I think that I feel, oh, you really understood not only the concepts, but you really understood because the examples are very accurate. Okay, so congratulations for that. I forgot to say something about Sharon's presentation, and it was like the different the different thing that I could see in that presentation was that she started with the definition and then she presented the referent. So it is a very nice exercise as well to have that thing in that way. Okay, so thank you very much for that presentation. I think that we have another one. Yes, thank you for that. Arley, could you please stop sharing the screen? Stop sharing the screen.
Could you tell me how, teacher?
Okay, I'm going to do it for you. Okay, don't
Thank
worry.
you, yeah.
Okay, because I learn how. Okay, very good. So I think that we have another group. I don't know. Let me see. Yes,
teacher.
Viviana, you can continue. Who are you working with? I have the list in here.
Hi, teacher. We are working
Sandra
with
Francisco. Yes. Yes, I was checking my list. Okay. The microphone is all yours.
Good evening,
Okay.
teacher.
Good evening.
Sense, reference, and through the examples, our group by composed of Liliana Martinez, Francisco Sanchez, and Sandra Real. Okay.
Liliana, if you want, you can use the whole screen as in a normal presentation. Yes, very good. Thank you.
It was me, teacher.
It's Francisco.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay. Sense reference to how we see an object at the amount of information given about an object. The sense is abstract and imaginary. For example, we have two words, hide and conceal. Hide can refer to, for example, the child has something but doesn't want to be seen. Now, conceal has the same meaning, but this word can be understood as one person who doesn't want them to find another person, for example, a delinquent or robber. Next, please. And in this case, the synonymy have the same or identical meaning, but different pronunciation. We have two examples, Yant and Who. We can imagine the Yant has the big person, but we can also relate it to big rock or big present or big heart. And other examples are pretty and beautiful, and side or edge. Continue, please. And in this example, we have two words, ripe and mature. And the first word, ripe, the meaning refers to the fruit, to banana, of a fruit that is ready to consume. And in the other word, for example, mature and imaginary is about developed in terms of physical appearance, of behavior, of thinking. And in another case, it could be a surname, but I'll talk in this case, good immaturity. Continue, Francisco.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay. In synonym, there are, for instance, phrasal verbs, take to pieces or take apart. These phrasal verbs have the same meaning. For instance, a sentence could be the mechanic must know how to take apart the engine or how to take to pieces the engine. It's the same meaning, but in different writing. Throw away or get rid of. The same meaning in different writing too. It's synonymy. Antonymy. In antonymy, we can see the example love and hate. There are opposite and they are different reactions. A hyponymy. A hyponymy, we can see a strawberry is a fruit. It's hyperonym. And the hyponymy could be mango, strawberry, apple, pear, peach. Is the hyponym of the strawberry. Musical instruments is hyperonym. The hyponym could be guitar, keyboard, drums. The meronymy of guitar, the guitar has strings, has diapason, has tremolo, have a plug. The meronym of keyboard, you have keys, is electronic, have a display, etc. Everything is said, teacher. Reference. Okay, in reference, we can see the reference is the object or the person that we are we are speaking. Sorry. For instance, book. Book has a lot of appearance in the word. Everybody has the different meaning or representation in our minds of a book. Could be big, small, different colors. Depends of the reference that we want. Michael Jackson is the king of the pop. In this example, we can see Michael Jackson could be the reference, but also king of pop. In this sentence, Michael Jackson is the king. The sentence has meaning, has sense, but no, they didn't have reference. Okay, so Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Pop could be reference to Michael Jackson, and pop could be a reference. A reference is variable and constant. A variable is the characteristic, for instance, in a fruit, orange. Orange has the meaning of a fruit. Also, it can be a color. Okay, for instance, apple. Apple could be a fruit, but also Apple is a brand of laptops and cell phones. A Jaguar is an animal, but could be a brand of cars. Okay, and a constant reference is the image that everybody have in their mind of a place. For instance, in this case, South America. If I tell you I am in South America, you can the reference in your mind of the shape of South America. For instance, I can see I am in the mall, in the mall in Unicentro. In Bogota, everybody knows how is Unicentro. So it's the reference that we have in our minds of the mall. Okay, Jenna, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to talk about true. True is related to what we think or we know about reality. True refers things that we affirm, that we know, think, or feel. So in this case, in this slide, I believe that coffee and ice cream are delicious. That is could be a sentence for that pictures. But if I stay in another country or ask to other person, maybe they think that ice cream and coffee are not delicious. Yes. And next, please. Well, in this case, I can see three pictures. And the truth is that I think is real and I believe. The picture for the dog, maybe the sentence could be, the dog is dangerous. The second sentence could be, the water wets and is real. The other picture is about God. Maybe the sentence could be, God protect us. Those are true, but it's according to the situation or the context. Next, please. This is the final part. This is like a riddle. If a liar says that he or she lies, does he or she lie? In case they have told the truth, then they have told the truth about lying. Or he true a liar. That's it, teacher.
Sorry. Okay, thank you for the presentation. I also see that you have different examples, different kind of explanations here, and this is very, very interesting. Okay, so congratulations. You did a very good job, everybody. I am talking about everybody. So you can see, let me see, you can see your grades about this presentation in the platform already. Okay, so
Okay, teacher.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
if you cannot see the grade, just let me know. because I was sure that everybody, I grade, I graded everybody. Okay, so I am. Thank you very much for the presentations. They were very good, and I'm going to tell you that again because I really enjoy your presentations. Okay. Something that caught my attention is that some of you are very, you use very political topics, right? So, but the examples were good. Okay, thank you. So guys, in order to finish this, let me share the screen. Okay, in order to finish this meeting for today, this session, I am going to tell you that we have already finished unit number 2, right? In unit number 1, we talk about the semantics, and this unit we were talking about sense, reference, and truth. So tomorrow, I'm going to open this for tomorrow. We are going to start the unit number 3, and I'm going to open it today, or tomorrow, okay? Because I have to make some adjustments. And here we have something important. The first activity is going to be a forum again, so you're going to have the time for reading, for watching the videos, for taking notes, and we are going to have some classes maybe before this date, that it is from June 5th to June the 10th, that it is more or less in 2 weeks. Yes, I know it is. It is this week. I know it is next week. Yeah, it is next week. So it is by a Sunday. Is the last day that it is. And again, the participation is very necessary for from you in this forum. You have to interact. If you have questions, make the questions and try to answer the questions to your classmates if they have. Make comments based on the readings that you have made and everything. Okay. The second one is an exercise. It is more or less the same dynamics of the easy unit that we have already finished. So unit number 3 is very similar. The second one is an exercise. There is an exercise, so we are going to have this exercise. You are going to work on that. We are going to have some sessions in order to solve questions about the exercises. Yeah, because the last day that you have to upload that is on June the 17th. So it is more or less the last week that we have class, and the next Monday, the same day, you have to do this presentation, exemplification of speech acts. So it is going to be another activity of using. This is another group activity, yeah, in which you are going to choose in this time in this exercise. You are going to choose a TV program, and we are going to analyze speech acts. Okay, so as soon as we analyze what the speech acts are and how can we analyze the speech acts, you have to choose a TV program. Maybe 2 minutes, 2 minutes of a conversation in a TV program is going to be enough, and I will say that it is more than enough. 1 or 2 minutes in order to analyze what happens in there, what are the speech acts, what is everything that happens. So we are going to do an exercise in here as well. In one of the classes, we are going to analyze a TV program, and we are going to see what the speech acts there are in the TV program. So this presentation is going to be June the 19th. Yeah, because this is the last day that we have class. Let me see. According to our, because this is the last unit, okay? There is not a unit 4, only 3 units. Yes, sorry, June the 19th. It is June the 18th. That's the day of the presentation. No, this is not. It's this one. Yes, I don't know why June the 19th. I made a mistake. It is 18th. So it is June the 18th is the day of the presentation. This is the final presentation, right? And this is going to be the day that you are going to fill in the self-evaluation and everything. So with that in mind, pay attention that we only have 3 classes, 2 Thursdays and 1 Monday. Okay, in these 2 Thursdays, we are going to solve the questions about the speech acts, we are going to do the exercises, and we are going to see some examples from of analysis of speech acts. And then we are going to have this one, okay? This class was very short. I mean, this course was very short, but okay, that was good. Yep. Any question about this? Do you have any question?
No, teacher.
No,
Okay.
teacher.
Thank you.
Everything was extremely clear. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Sharon was asking
Thank you,
about the
teacher.
grades of the previews. What do you mean with the previews?
The
You mean
first
the photos?
forum.
Or maybe the mind map?
The mind map is already there. The grade of the mind map is already there.
Really? Where?
Yes. There.
No.
They are in grades, teacher.
No?
Teacher,
No,
but
No, it is
too.
not.
we can
No,
see the
teacher.
grade.
Okay, yes.
We don't have any grade.
I have only one grade, the first encounter, no more.
The first encounter?
No more, yes. It's only one grade that appear in the grade section.
Really?
I just
Yes,
got this
teacher.
grade, the one that I got today, but I don't see the rest.
Presentation of today and the
Okay, let me see the settings because I don't know. I have already uploaded some grades, right? Let me see the settings. Okay, I'm going to
Today only 2.
Actually, we can see this link of grades in a platform.
No?
No.
No, no, teacher.
That's very strange. Let me
Yeah.
see what happens because it is not. This is the first time that it happens to me. Okay, so I'm going to fix that and I'm going to let you see the grades. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other question? Different from the grades?
No, teacher.
No, teacher. You're always right and clear. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Next week, then we are going to start with the speech acts. That it is pragmatics, okay? So try to watch the videos, try to read if you can, and take notes. Yes, I am sure that you are very good at this because I have seen it today. Okay? Okay, guys. So if there is not any other thing to say, I'm going to say thank you very much for your presentations again and see you next time. Okay?
Thank you,
Good
teacher.
night.
Okay, teacher.
Thank you,
Thank
Have a
guys.
good one.
Good
Have
night.
a nice night, everyone.
Bye bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, teacher.